All right, we're back. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 58. This week, it was my pick, and I picked The Conjuring from 2013, the movie that started the whole cinematic universe of the Conjuring movies, which, in case you're wondering, consists of 3 Conjuring movies, 3 Annabelle movies, The Nun, and then The Case of La Llorona, which I thought was way more, but apparently it's
I
only
thought they,
7.
I thought they said the Nun 2. They've already announced it or whatever.
Well, when it comes out, that'll be, I don't know.
No, there's a new one that just came out. I want to say, or it's coming out real soon.
Maybe.
I
I
can't
don't know.
remember the name of it because I remember someone linked it to me.
I don't know. I've watched The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2, Annabelle, and I think that's it. I think those are the only 3 I've watched out of the series. But
Well, just for the people at home, because I'm a genius.
uh-huh.
How does this connect with Insidious or whatever? Is it
It
just
doesn't.
2 different storylines told by the same people?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they're
Okay.
like it's even the same director and shit.
Yeah.
Like but they're completely different. Completely different, but also they still have a very similar feel. So
Well, same cast even, right?
yeah, like Patrick Wilson. I don't think the Lorraine was in it.
Yeah, she was the mom.
Was she? Was she the mom too? I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I think the only person who's not, well, so far is not in it is that old lady who I hated from Insidious,
Let's
the
see.
medium.
Uh, Now I gotta look up if she was the mom in this bitch.
We haven't even
No,
given a
anyway.
rating, but
Anyway, but I said how I loved it when I first saw it in 2013 when it came out, and I hadn't watched it again since then. I think it's still all right. Still, I'm gonna give it a 7. There's some problems I have with it. I didn't like it as much the second time around. Which, to be fair, that's most movies that you watch. Like, there's some you can still
especially
watch.
horror, right?
Yeah,
Like,
especially horror, and you know what's gonna happen and stuff. But I think it's still a solid movie, so I'll give it a 7. We're gonna skip Maverick. Actually, was possessed, and it was a whole crazy witch cursed him.
well, I
Uh,
think I think his mom was the possessed one. He just
oh yeah, and he was the victim. Okay,
mm,
so we're gonna
she
go.
made him do it. She
Yeah,
made him do it.
so we're gonna go to Tyler. What's Tyler gonna rank this one?
So I don't remember what I gave Insidious, but I remember I loved it.
Uh huh.
But I think I gave it really high score.
I know what you gave it.
What I give it? Do you know off the top of your head? Or do
Yeah,
you have to
because
look
you
it
gave
up?
it a 10.
This one. I'm gonna give this movie a 10 as
Oh
well.
fuck.
Like it was so good, and
Yeah.
like so in my mind, the only bad thing with Insidious was I don't like that old lady, and that's just a personal thing,
Well, we
right?
didn't.
Like,
Yeah. Well, I remember Insidious. A big problem we had was like the ending when the monster like comes and he's running over the wall and shit. We were like, "What's going on?"
hey, you leave that guy
I'm
alone.
sorry, dude. Sorry.
But this one I think knocks it out of the park because that's the guy from Office Space and Band of Brothers. I don't know his name,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a great actor. The mom in that is she's pretty good, even though she's kind of annoying too. But all the kids are great. Like
Yeah.
there was never a point where you just
The
wanted to kick one into like the
yeah
next yard or whatever.
the
It was
mom the mom in it. I realized when I looked up Insidious that she was in Insidious. Maybe she was the mom in Insidious in that one, but as I was watching, I was like, I recognize her. She was in 6 Feet Under. Shout out to anyone who watched that show. She was part of a very strange storyline that involved a double murder, cheating, homicide, suicide. So also murder and homicide is the same thing. So I kind of just said the. But anyway,
well, no, I think someone gets murdered, but like when you realize that, anyways,
yeah,
there's a difference. I just can't think of what it
yeah.
is.
So anyway,
But yeah,
spoiler.
great movie.
Great movie. Spoiler warning for The Conjuring. We're gonna ruin everything about it. So you've been warned. Uh, so first off, the only things that I was like critiquing is obviously watching it back too. You can pick up on things, but it seemed like they weren't very subtle about what was going on. You know, like they get there and immediately they're like, it smells like someone's dead and shit. And like those weird lines threw me off. Was like I got a bruise on my leg. Why'd you kick me last night? And like I
Now, let
feel
me
like
ask
it
you
could
a
have been
question.
done better.
Is that just because of your extensive knowledge of all this stuff, or like, say you found someone who like hadn't watched horror about this, they would have no clue about like the smell of sulfur and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
and
and
you gotta
like
realize this is the first one of the series too.
yeah, and the
So
mom's like, it's freezing down here. And you're like, oh, you know, yeah,
they're like, the furnace works fine. I don't know why it's so cold. I was like,
yeah,
oh no.
like
What? The only problem I had
uh
was the amount of technology they had in this film. Not
yeah,
like the way they shot it, but like
yeah.
the cameras and shit.
I didn't mind that. I didn't care for the music montage of them setting everything up. Like I felt like we could have done without that, but
It was like an '80s action flick.
yeah. What
It's
one of my
18.
favorite parts about this movie now and still when I saw it the first time is like how everyone moves in to hunt the like I know it's a day and like spooky shit's good, but it seems so like cozy in a weird way. Like everyone was there and they were hunting for ghosts and like I think the daughters left. I think they got them out of the house because you don't see them until the very end of the movie when the shit kicks off. But and so then I was like, well, how comforting, for the people who live in the house. That now they got ghost experts and shit living there with them, and like yeah, something about them moving in to catch the evidence was always so cool to me. Like I can't think of another movie that we've watched where like the people move in. Like even Insidious, the people would come, but then they would leave like during the night or
Yeah.
whatever. So I like that.
I mean, they have that really great scene where they're all having like breakfast or whatever, and they're all making pancakes and
Uh huh.
shit. And it really like ties the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Like it's like I said, I know that I don't know if the director and the storyteller or writer are the same guy.
Yeah, they are. James
That
Wan,
guy, yeah,
creator
that
of
guy
Saw.
is he?
Hmm.
I must say that dude has to be a billionaire, right?
He's made a lot of shit.
He's really good. I'm gonna watch all those movies I think soon,
Yeah. Speaking
just
of
because.
speaking of Saw, this is the first movie that James Wan has made that does not feature a cameo by Billy the Puppet. So, R.I.P. Billy the
Well,
Puppet.
kind of did.
Well, like a image of him, because in Insidious he
Yeah.
was on the chalkboard. So
Well, like just the Rory ghost or whatever spirit.
yeah,
Like when you open it up, it has like the little clown head, and then it has like I don't know the swirls on his cheek from
yeah,
the
I
Saw
get, yeah,
guy.
that kind of is
It's
similar.
on the mirror, yeah. So I was,
Yeah,
but I
that
mean symbolism maybe,
you only
but
get
it would have been nothing to put that puppet in that room,
in like
right?
that
But
basement room. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so or
Um,
the scary room, right?
yeah, the room of haunts. Yeah. So,
But this movie is based on a true story. And I'm gonna say that very
based on
skeptically.
true events.
Events,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the people are real. The Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were they even have a bit at the beginning where they're like, well, what do people call you? And it's like, well, ghost hunters, kooks. Like some people just call us crazy. Um, who, I mean, I won't get into all of it, but if you look it up, there's questionable things about their real life characters that a
Yeah.
lot of people say that they were pieces of shit, and there's a lot of some shady stuff. But we won't go mostly because I haven't done all the research right now.
Oh,
I
I
have.
was reading it for like the last 2 hours.
I've listened to a bunch of shit before, but like it's been a while since I've dived into that. But I do remember like this case specifically. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like, yeah, they like started the case, but they were hardly ever there. And then at one point they like get kicked out from the family because they're like, you guys aren't helping. And so, but based on true events.
Yeah, I mean, and
They're
I sent you a
they're a
picture.
really nice family in the movie.
Sent you a picture of him before,
Yeah.
and like Ed looks to me like a lot like my grandpa,
Uh huh.
and there's no way that guy's dodging out of the way of a dresser, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, true events, right? You gotta like make it movie. But anyway, I don't know.
We are suckers for based on true events here. So even when you know it's gonna like just add it
Yeah.
at the front of your movie. It makes it so much better. Like,
Well, even if it's just complete bullshit
it
too,
could be
right?
fucking Superman. Just put based on true. You're like, oh shit, this really happened, cuz. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the fourth kind.
The Fourth Kind, Texas Chainsaw, fucking what's that other movie we watched that was based on true events? Oh, Blair Witch.
Oh,
Yeah.
Blair Witch. Willow Creek.
Yeah, Willow Creek.
I don't know if that was.
I don't remember.
That
I
might
think
just be
it
my
might have been
mind.
based on true events. That was I don't know. That was a while ago. But yeah, I really like the setup with everyone inside the house. The only one I could have did without, kinda, that seemed pointless was the random cop they throw in, which
He was my favorite.
yeah, like he had the bit where he like took shit in the bathroom and he like creaks open the door and everyone's looking at it and then he comes out and he was like, "What? I had to go." And but it just seemed like he was kind of thrown in there.
It was great because he was like the skeptic, right?
Yeah,
So you kind of have to have one. What other movie was it that we were watching where? Oh, I think it was Insidious.
probably.
Where she was like, "There's something here," and the dad or the guy who was the same characters.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
was like, okay, like he believed her instantly.
It was
and I
yeah,
like,
it
that
was
would never
Insidious.
happen.
Yeah, like, and we
And
talked about it in the movie. We were like, this guy just believes her. Like, they move houses.
Yeah.
As soon as she's like, there's something going on, he's like, all right, let's go.
yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah. So the movie starts with we learn later is home footage that they have shot where they're interviewing these three fucking college students. They look like, but the weird thing is they have this guy there that in the flashbacks you never see him in the flat. So I don't
yeah,
know why, but these college students that get how did they get it? They just went to like a garage sale and it was there.
oh yeah. I think it was just in the house. I don't remember. I remember they were
Yeah.
nursing students or nurses.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know how they got it.
But yeah, and they find this Annabelle is the doll's name, and
Which in real life is what, Raggedy Ann?
Raggedy Ann, yeah. And so
Are we gonna buy some Raggedy Anns?
fuck no. Like I don't like regular dolls. Keep in mind.
I was gonna say you could use a Raggedy Ann up there on one of the
I
shelves.
don't want to mess with it. But yeah, and so they go into this whole story about this girl who lived there who I'm blanking, but she was like beaten by her mom or some shit, and she like became friends with Annabelle and was always stroking her hair and shit. And then how did she die? Did she kill herself? I can't remember. It's
I
pretty.
don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm getting her story confused with the Exorcist guy's story.
Yeah.
I just remember the two girls and the doll was left behind, and then it started doing crazy shit.
Yeah, so anyway, she's dead, and so the ladies invite her to live inside the doll, which then we learn later, which I just because I watch all these ghost shows and shit, I'm like, that was a demon. I'm like, it was it was imitating a little girl. I've seen this 1,000 times, and that ends up, yeah, it's a
1,000 times.
yeah, it's a demon, or they don't say it's a demon. They say it's a non-human spirit or something.
A non-human.
Yeah, but it's a
can't
spirit
remember.
that's never walked the earth, and so
Yeah, they were like, it's a demon, but we're not going to use the word demon.
yeah, we're not going to use the word demon for some reason. Yeah, and so they we have this whole little creepy scenes with Annabelle where she's got like crayons where she had just drawn like, did you miss me or whatever, and they throw her out, and of course the next morning or next night she's back at the door, and so they take Annabelle, and now it's a super famous like thing of the under no circumstances do you ever open this fucking door or whatever, unless you're Zach Bagans, which then you can just fucking rent out the room for the night and have the Annabelle doll just sitting there and be like, I'm gonna touch it. He has the fucking Annabelle, and he's like, they're like, don't touch it, and then he goes, she told me to touch it. But anyway, and so yeah, then it turned, and they're doing like a fucking seminar for a college on ghost classes, I guess. I don't know what.
I don't know if it's a seminar or like a lecture or because they're not there handing out business cards. Whatever.
No,
but yeah, so I don't know what it is. I kind of want to get into. I mean, this node or whatever, but demonology or whatever it's called. By get into it, I want to buy a book or two, right? I don't want to be like, there and stuff. But he's apparently a demonologist.
Yeah, the only demonologist recognized by the Vatican, I think it says at the beginning or something.
I think he's the only guy who could do exorcists. He's not a priest.
Yeah.
Something. And it tells you that in the beginning. So,
yeah. It's
kind of a weird thing because he ends up doing one in this. And you just kind of expect it. But this was his first one he ever did, I guess?
Yeah, that he did himself. Yeah.
So it was like, if they didn't tell you that in the beginning, I think it would have.
No.
You get
stuff later that we'll go into about an exorcist they did previously where Lorraine has this weird gift. She's like, fucking, yeah, what's that show where the guy could touch people and see everything that they see? I don't know. I know there's a character in The Boys that we were just talking about that had that power. I think it was a kid from The Sixth Sense. I think he could do it, yeah.
No, it was Bruce Willis, wasn't it?
What?
Bruce Willis was the one who could touch people. It's not. It's M. Night Shyamalan, where he's a superhuman. It's not The Sixth Sense, it's the other one. Where he's
Unbreakable?
With Unbreakable, with Mr. Glass and them. Yeah. When he's like walking around, you remember he's at the football thing and he has his hands out and he's just touching everybody.
Yeah.
And then he's like, that guy.
Yeah. But the kid from The Sixth Sense is in The Boys and he can touch people and see what they've seen.
Yeah,
Haley Joel Osment. Look at that. I nailed that fucking name. But what was I talking about?
Elaine.
Oh yeah, and so she touches this guy as he's in the middle of this exorcism, and she sees something that fucks her up, and she's on the ground like and Ed is like, I've never asked her what she's seen, and I don't plan on it,
So you've seen a lot of these, right? Do you find, is there a movie that tells you what she sees?
I've only seen the second one. I don't remember. I don't know if they ever say. My only guess maybe is because the one that just came out, The Devil Made Me Do It, Conjuring 31.
That's the movie I was talking about at the beginning, and you were...
Oh, well, you were saying, like, Nun 2 or whatever. Yeah. But, because that one I know is about a dude who kills a guy and says he's possessed by the devil. The devil made me do it, obviously. And I know that's, like, their first case. So I'm thinking maybe it's in that,
Ooh, nice.
But, I don't know for sure. Speaking of, I wanted to go to it. What was the reason I was talking about her touching people?
I think you were just explaining that she touches people.
Okay, yeah. The reason when you brought up that glass where you could, first off, fuck everything about that toy, where the kid's like, I got a new friend named Brian. You just spin the wheel and he's standing behind you in the mirror. I was like, no, thank you. Like, throw it out immediately. But then Lorraine and them, when they get there, she turns it, and as it's going by, you see him standing there for like a second. And now, I think it's supposed to be the kid who that lady kills, and you see later down in the crawl space, where she's like, she made me do it, or whatever.
Yeah, well, his name's Rory.
Yeah.
And I just know that because I just watched it. But, it's the same clothes and everything. Yeah. He's the one who's like hiding in the...
But... as he was standing over there, and we've been over the movies aren't related, it's just made by the same people. He looked exactly like the Insidious kid, like on the box cover and shit. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck. But then like the next time you see him, he's like a ghost again, but he's dead this time. He's like laying in her. I thought that mirror thing played a way bigger part in this movie, but then it had like its little time to shine, and then that it just sort of went. It does end the movie, which that was a good ending. Was the look because you keep waiting. You're like, is something gonna pop up, and then it just cuts to black, and you're like, okay. So
I this movie does a great thing to where they like introduce all these ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to call them,
uh huh,
and they most of them don't seem related. Like you learn about all these like tragic deaths or
yeah,
whatever, and then they end up being related at the end, and you're like, what?
yeah,
You know, but it was a great. I
yeah.
forgot. Well, we were just at the seminar. We haven't even gotten halfway through talking.
No, yeah, I don't know. Uh, I know one thing though. If I was the fucking kid that lived with the Lorraines, like I'd be or the Warrens, I'd be shitting my pants just knowing that shit was in my house. Like there's just that whole room of the most evil shit imaginable.
I don't like. I don't know. It's weird because like I feel sorry for that kid because they're like, I miss my mom and dad, and they're like, we're out here doing God's work, and it's
Yeah,
like, what about me? You
yeah.
know, but
What about Raven?
I'm assuming that kid dies eventually in one of these films,
Maybe. I
just
don't.
because like she keeps having all those like horrible visions and stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah,
let me
like
ask you.
why wouldn't before you ask the question, why wouldn't they just rent like a shed and have all that shit in the shit? Like why keep it in the house? But
Well, he says, it's good, better to have it here than out there wandering. But
I
that's why he doesn't burn the items.
yeah, yeah. So
But this is like the '70s. Did they have storage units in the '70s?
I don't know. Probably I don't know.
Sure, they did.
I'm
Right? People
yeah,
had a
they
story.
must
Yeah,
have.
everyone had shit. But I mean,
Yeah. Anyway, what was the question you were gonna ask me?
uh,
Oh fuck.
fuck me. Oh, so like this guy gets rid of these demons and stuff, and Homegirl's a medium or whatever. Is there a lot of money in this? Because they had like a massive house.
Right?
They had her mom who was looking after their daughter, but like throughout the whole movie,
Yeah.
there's like different people. Like they have nannies and stuff, and they just leave at the drop of a hat, and they have all this equipment and everything. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know cuz like they have the stuff at the beginning where they're talking on the fucking, to the people. So you assume they have some other job, but I don't know cuz they were living good in their house. Which I'm
that's kind of
sure
what.
in real life, if you look it up, they probably were making these motherfuckers pay like
Yeah,
a shit ton of money.
well, I think they leave that out because that's like the charlatan or like the because that's like if a ghost hunter comes
Uh
or
huh.
whatever. They're like, I'd really like to get rid of this ghost, but my pal do
Yeah.
and as soon as you ask for money, then you have a vested interest in finding a ghost or whatever.
Yeah. I do
But then,
appreciate the one little scene in this movie where they show them being like, the pipes were leaking and banging through the thing, and so that's what it. And like it was just a little scene, but it like goes to show that the characters aren't there just to like find make
yeah.
themselves find something. Like at first they're like, hey, this is what your problem is. Like they're not there just to bullshit you.
Well, it's like a thing, right? Where they say if you're hunting ghosts, everything you see is going to be a ghost, right?
Yeah.
That's why you have to wear orange when you go hunting because anything that moves, you're automatically going to deer.
Yeah.
And then you look over and it's just Maverick.
Yeah.
You shoot him anyways, but
I'll be
it was
wearing
an
the
accident.
best.
But it's Maverick, so it's like tuxedo vest. It's
Uh-huh.
not even the
Yeah.
right one. But I don't know. See, like that, they show you that they're like credible people.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that they had to make them like look credible,
Yeah.
it's kind of like stabbing me in the heart because I have a feeling once I start reading more, these folks,
Yeah.
the Lorraines or whatever, I'm
Yeah.
gonna find a lot of stuff that's gonna show them not being
Yeah.
good people.
Yeah.
So
I saw that I don't know how much they have involved with it, but they were there. That they also were part of the investigation at the Amityville Horror House, which at the end of the movie when the guy's like, the guy's got a case for us in Long Island or whatever. That is the Amityville horror, which movie I've never watched. One day we'll watch it. I know they made like 11 sequels to it. So
sequels or remakes?
Sequels and remakes. I know they made that remake with was it Ryan Reynolds?
Really?
I'm pretty sure Ryan Reynolds or Dane Cook, one of them. Amityville Horror 2011. Let's see. Okay, I don't recognize any of these people. Is this not? Am I fucking insane?
Am I wrong in thinking? I mean, I know these movies, they follow like hauntings, right?
2005, Ryan Reynolds, Amityville Horror. There you go. Go ahead.
But like, why is this not a TV show?
Yeah.
Imagine having like, you know, I guess the Ghost Hunters and all them, Zach Baggins and all that is kind of that. But imagine having like a good written, like hour long, 10 seasons on HBO once a year. You know, like a good, I don't know, because this stuff was good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe like, because the reason like shit like this is because there's a danger to it at the end. So then if you made a TV show where every episode had like this day, it's like, why do these guys keep doing it? You know? But then if you make it where it's just like Ghost Adventures, but everyone knows it's fake, it's kind of like, well, you know.
You know what? I mean,
the good thing about Ghost Adventures is they make it seem real. We won't get into whether or not how real or fake they make stuff, but they never give you too much or too little. Like, there's always enough, and then every now and then there's going to be that one big thing that you're like, holy fuck, it's real, you know?
Yeah. I mean, me and you talked about this before, but people at home don't know. Destination Truth, like the way they did their things was perfect.
Destination Truth is one of the best shows ever made. Like,
even though it wasn't all ghosts, right? They went looking for like
fucking elves and shit.
Loch Ness and everything. Yeah,
that elf episode is one of my favorites because they have the camera and then they just tip it over, and it was like, and then as they're leaving, you hear like, that's not true, but I wanted to add that in. They find that Bigfoot print. They fucking make a Bigfoot print.
Not Bigfoot. It was a Sasquatch or Yeti.
Sorry, I didn't mean the.
It was in the snow. So whatever the white one, the frozen one is, or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, getting off top. With me and you doing this and Maverick not being here, treating this just like an overtime to where I just keep going on tangents. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, anyway. So the whole thing that kicks this off is family that moved from the city somewhere. I don't remember, but they move. They buy this house, and in the middle of nowhere. It's like in the middle of these woods by this little pond and shit.
Beautiful house, beautiful land, beautiful location.
Yeah, and they move in. The second they get there, they're like going, and the dog is like, "Fuck this place." And he's like, just barking. He won't go in. The first day there, the kids have this game, Hide and Clap, which comes back later on. And as they're playing it, the one girl finds her sister in this closet, and they like, she charges her, and they knock into the wall, and it makes like this little hole, and they find out they have a cellar, right? And so the dad and them are like, well, look at that. We got extra square footage, to add on to the thing. And so, so they find the cellar. Everything's good. That next night, at night, you get a scene of the mom that I really like. Well, the mom's in it. But the mom just looking out the window. And dog's like, hey, get the fuck out. He's like, come on. And he's just barking at him from downstairs. And if you like that dog, got bad news for you. In the very next scene, he's dead. He's dead as shit.
But they never explained that. Why did she not like the animals? Or
I,
why were the
I
birds?
yeah, why were
Because
the
what?
birds flying in the house and shit?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because the whole thing is she was like, anyone who takes my land is cursed or whatever. So maybe it's just like if you come onto her land, you're cursed. So maybe like that's why the fucking birds always kamikaze into the buildings. I don't know, but the dog's dead. R.I.P. the dog. What was his name? They had it on a big fucking tombstone.
Bailey?
Uh, might be.
I can't remember.
Dog. I knew the dog died because I'd seen this, but it died way earlier in than I remembered. I was like, God damn.
I mean, so a little bit of respect to the film. Like I said, I know I'm sucking all of this film's. Never mind. But I know I'm giving this movie a lot of
Uh
props.
huh.
But it wasn't like a gruesome death. It wasn't like I expected to come out and see the thing like hanging.
Yeah.
And to go with the whole movie, they should have done that, but they didn't. He just
It's
came
just
out
like
and
a
the dog
far
was
away shot. You see like the dog laying there.
yeah, and it just wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's dead, and it's like okay.
Yeah.
So shout out. I mean, I don't care. You can stab all the people you want.
Yeah.
Leave the animals
Leave the
alone.
animals
Like just
alone.
yeah, like tell me they went to the farm or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm good. And then what's that movie we watch where they just beat the one to death at the golf club?
Oh, Funny Games.
Funny Games.
Episode 2,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very long.
And
It
that
was a while back.
motherfucker, he makes her play hide and seek with the dog, and he'd be like, "You're getting cold. You're getting warmer." Like, that was when he first little tangent. That was when he first breaks the fourth wall, and that's when you're like, "What the fuck's going on?" Because she's looking, and then he like looks at the camera, and he's like, and you're like, "What did he just do?" But anyway, but yeah. So then for the next 15, 20 odd minutes, some creepy shit's happening. The little girl who sleepwalks, you get a scene of her where she's just like banging her head into this wardrobe. That is very creepy scene. It's like a creepy shot of her just banging her head in the wardrobe. You get then yeah, that happens, and then throughout you keep getting like it smelled like death in my room, or it's cold, and then the next day, or it's not the dad pieces off. So he's a truck driver. He gets a route in Florida. He's gonna be gone for a week or whatever, right? I was looking forward to having him out here to talk about this truck stuff, but he's not here. So he's gone. So he's going to be gone a week. So you assume that what I'm about to tell you is now a week later or whatever. Because the mom is playing with like the littlest girl, and she says, "Can we play, hide and clap or whatever?" No one ever wants to play with me, And the mom's like, "Okay, we'll play hide and clap." So she's, blindfolded, and she's having to listen for the clap. And she ends up in the girl's room with the wardrobe. And as she has her back to the wardrobe, and then the wardrobe fucking and like creaks open, right? And the mom goes, "Oh, I know where you are. Give me my third clap." And then out of the clothes, you get the fucking and like
Were those not the creepiest hands.
It was
you've ever
pretty
seen?
creepy hands. Yeah,
I don't know whose arms or the whatever,
Yeah,
but oof.
yeah. And so she's like, and she's going forward, and as she's getting closer to the wardrobe, you hear like, like this fucking weird, And then as she gets to the wardrobe, the little girl comes running in the room, and she's like, "You weren't even close, mommy. I was in fucking Christine's room or whatever." And the mom was like, "What?" And she's like looking through the clothes, and there's nothing. And then, how did she hear another clap come from the cellar? Or what led her to going in the cellar?
Well, she didn't go there that time.
Yeah,
like
it must
the daughter
have been,
was behind her,
yeah.
so it was later on. But I don't know why
yeah.
Her husband was down there, wasn't he?
No, because he was gone. Because as what I'm about to talk about happens, he comes home.
Oh yeah.
What led her down there? Let's see if I wrote it down. What?
She just hears a noise, and no, because that's earlier.
Um.
Because the girls are all asleep.
Oh. Okay. So the first off that night, then what happens is you get the scene of the girl waking up, and she looks over in the corner of her room, and you get this long scene of her being like, "There's someone over there," you know, and she tells her sister, she's like, "There, can't you see him standing there?" And the sister goes walking over, and she's like, "There's nothing here." And then she turns around, and the girl's like, "He's right behind you." And the girl like turns and looks, and then the door slams, and they start yelling. And this is when the dad and the mom come running in. They're like, "What's going on?" or whatever, right? So then the dad leaves after that. So then a week later, oh, this you also get a little fun tidbit of the girl going, "Oh no, he told me that, or they told me they want my family dead." And it was like, "Ooh, that's not good," you know. And the mom is walking around because she hears like a weird noise or whatever. And then maybe the best scare of this movie, and I remember it scared the shit out of me when it happened the first time, and it still got me this time, is all the pictures falling off the goddamn wall, and it's just loud as shit.
And like kids' laughter is in it too.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh.
And I forgot, and I was like, God damn. And then, as she's like, looking around or whatever, she hears the piano playing downstairs. And that's why. Also, the piano, it plays the same three notes over and over, and it keeps sounding like the beginning of the heart-shaped box piano from Westworld Season 2 that I tell y'all is really good. Turns out, apparently the same three notes are played in a movie from 1973 called The Creeping, so apparently it's an homage to that. But I haven't watched that, so But she hears someone play the piano downstairs, and so she goes to the top of the stairs, and she's like, "Who's ever down there? You better get out." And then she turns around to leave, and the fucking door slams in her face and like hits her in
Right
the
in her
nose.
forehead, yeah.
And she goes tumbling down the stairs.
The worst fall I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
She hit every step and the pillar and everything.
Yeah.
Oof, it reminded me of Hereditary for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
And so then she's down there, and as she's sitting there, a fucking ball gets thrown out of the corner and comes rolling. And she's like, "All right, time to leave." And as she takes like one step, the light bulb fucking busts, right? So then, as she's sitting on the stair, which conveniently the dad had left a box of matches sitting there earlier when they had first discovered the cellar. She fucking has the fucking the burning going. And then it goes out. And when it goes out, it's like, oh shit. And she cuts it on again. And she's sitting there on the stair. And then you hear, "You want to play hide and clap?" And then you get probably the most famous scene from this movie, which was in all the trailers and shit, which is still a great shot, is because these are them stairs that don't have no back. It's just an open-ass goddamn stair. Out of the dark, once again, you get the right next to her ear or whatever. And she was like, "Ah!" And then the candle goes out, right?
Want to play hide and clap?
so I had stairs like that in my house growing up because we had a basement. They scared the fuck out of me my whole life.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, like, walking downstairs that are like open.
Uh-huh.
I always feel like someone's gonna grab me. Like, I'm a grown ass man with guns and stuff, and I still, you see me, my little tater tot self, hauling ass up them stairs.
Yeah.
Oof, it's some scariness.
And so, as this is all happening, the girl wakes up again, and she's banging her head on the wardrobe. So the sister gets up, does the thing her dad did, where she puts her hand on her forehead, and she's like, "Let's go back to bed." And then she puts her back to bed, and then as she puts her back to bed, great fucking scene of she lays her down, and she's like, "Ah." And then from the wardrobe, you start hearing the fucking headband coming from inside this time. And you're like, oh shit, So then she goes walking towards the wardrobe. And as she's walking towards the wardrobe, the little girl fucking sits up. and like is staring. And at first I was like, is she possessed? But then she immediately goes to being a normal girl, so I don't know why she sat up all creepy. But you know, it was cool looking. So girl opens gets to the wardrobe, and then I think or she doesn't even get to the wardrobe because she's like reaching for it, and then the little girl goes, "Oh my god!" Right? And the girl looks back and she's like, "What?" And then she looks up, and a fucking witch is on top of the wardrobe, and jumps on top of her. And all hell breaks loose. Everyone's screaming. This is conveniently when the dad shows up from his week-long truck drive. And he shows up like, what the fuck's going on in my house? Like, everyone's screaming.
Yeah, because mom's locked in the basement.
Yeah.
The others are getting attacked by a witch upstairs.
Yeah.
Like,
and so this night is what leads them to contacting the Warrens. So, there you go. You like that summer? I just went through all that shit. Like,
this movie is so good. Like, I was thinking that as you're going on your the escapade, that you could probably sit here and do the whole movie scene by scene.
Scene by scene, and like it'll...
Because, like, what scenes are wasted? Like, there's none. Really, like, every scene has a point. Every scene is in there for a reason. Like, you don't get any, like, there's no filler, right?
Yeah.
Maybe talking to the priest.
Yeah.
That's the only scene that I was like,
Yeah. The priest, I was gonna say the kid, the weird scene where Lorraine sees the kid under the water, which just leads her to calling her mom to see if the daughter's alright. Because later on in the movie, Annabelle breaks out somehow, and shit goes down. But I guess that kind of has its purpose with the Annabelle. I forgot that Annabelle came back in that way. I remember as we were watching the beginning of the movie, like, the Annabelle thing was cool, and they made their fucking 3 movies out of it or whatever. But I remember thinking, like, this is real random thrown in here. Like, because it never comes back. But then as time went on, I was like, oh yeah, it's going to break out at one point and fuck with that little girl in the house. But yeah. So, they go to the Warrens. They try to tell her, like, listen, most of the time it's not a big deal, it's just some shit. And she's like, no, you have to come. And they're there for maybe an hour, and immediately homie is like, yeah, it's a demon. He's like, we need to exorcise this bitch. And
it's weird because he's like, we hear this knocking. He's like, 3 times? He's like, yeah, I think it was 3 times. Stops at dawn, and he was like, yeah, I think you're right. And he's like, that's them, messing with God or whatever.
Messing with God.
And I'm like, it's like, God, this guy's on the money, man. This dude knows everything.
And, and so then the reason that you get everyone move in to fucking try to film is apparently you need evidence to bring to the Catholic Church so that you can get permission for an exorcist. So that's why everyone has to get moved in. Also, the next scene, you realize that during their interviews, the mom's voice just didn't record for a second. And I was like, that's fucking, something.
It's a crazy, This is the craziest part of this movie to me, but...
Yeah, the lady's voice didn't record. This is when you get... first off, fucking Ed does nothing. And then he's like, what about you, honey? What do you got? And then she goes on for 10 fucking minutes about... like, the whole history of this fucking house. And, like, this is when you get this lady who sacrificed her baby, and she practiced witchcraft and, and all this shit. And then she goes to hang herself at this tree, and she proclaims that anyone who tries to take her land is cursed. She's pronounced dead at 3:07. That's why the clocks stop at 3:07 every
This is
every
during
day.
the Salem witch trial at the time, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question.
Also, when they were at the house, you get a shot of Lorraine looking at Ed, and you see feet dangling behind them. And anyway, go ahead.
They really have a bunch of clocks around that would tell you that it's 3:07 a.m.
Yeah, back then.
Back in the Salem witch, it's not like you use a sundial.
They just had a guy look at the sun. And he's like, I do declare.
I don't know why he's Southern in Salem, but
I don't know.
But at the same time, the sun's not out at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Oh
So
shit,
it's
you
like,
right?
so like maybe like the tide or something,
Yeah.
but it's so weird that they picked that time. I mean, it's nighttime, so it's scarier,
Yeah,
right? But
scary. But yeah, and she gives him all this disposition about the history of the house, and then the fucking tape kicks back on, and he's like, "What do you think, Lisa?" Well, that's her name, 6 Feet Under. That's not her name in this movie. And then you just hear like, "Rah!" like all this
it's
screaming and
it's
shit.
it's a horrifying noise
Yeah.
for sure.
Um. But anyway, yeah. And so this is when everyone moves into the house, and they have to find fucking evidence and shit.
Evidence, yeah.
You get a scene that takes what I talked about in the Babadook, and I think proves it, which is they're like doing this shit. Ed and Lorraine have this whole conversation out in the yard, and they're like, "We're gonna help these people," you know. And then Lorraine is like messing with some fucking laundry, and then the sheet flies off, and it lands on like a person, which. Yeah, it was like that scene out of Come Play where the newspaper landed on the
Yeah,
homie or whatever.
outside the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sheet hits on this person real fast, and then it goes flying off towards this upper window. And as it hits there, you see the witch standing there, right? And the Lacey's there. But here's the thing: they keep it so zoomed out, you know what it is, right? And so it's creepy, and then that's how they keep it. They don't do an extra fucking zoom in, so you know like
The Babadook
the
one was
yeah, exactly. Like they took what I talked about in that one and they showed how it should have been done. Like you just leave it like that. And so
Man, it's crazy that they watched your podcast and then went back
Went-
20 years and did what you suggested.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Man,
they did
this guy's
old
good.
George Lucas like
Pawn shop first or whatever.
yeah. But yeah, and so then this witch lady jumps on top of the mom and fucking pukes like it looked like just straight up blood into her mouth.
Yeah, it was.
And this would then come back later because, spoiler for later, the mom becomes fucking full on like possessed and shit. But yeah, then you get a scene of the cop who's the skeptic and he doesn't really believe in any of this shit. Who he sees this lady in the kitchen. And she has her wrist slit, and she's one of the maids that like kill everyone in this house would end up killing themselves and shit after they did some heinous crime or whatever. And she's like, "Look what she made me do, you know? Look what she made me did, and look what she made me do." And then she goes walking behind the sheet, and the guy goes to walk, and you think like a normal horror movie that he's gonna go behind the sheet and then something's gonna happen. But before he can even get there, she comes from the side and jumps on him. Which when I watched this first time, that was the biggest scare from the movie. Was when she came from the side or whatever. It's still cool. It didn't get because I knew it was coming this time, but it was still a cool shot. And so immediately he jumps up and he's like, Ed, fucking yeah.
But Ed's following the daughter? Like, he's doing something else.
The daughter's sleepwalking, and they go to stop her, but he's like, no. Or because the cameras are going off, and he's like, someone's walking with her. She wouldn't cause the cameras to go off. And so the daughter, like, ends up going into a room, and then the door just locks. And then, like, immediately the plans go out the window, and they start trying to get her. Then somehow Lorraine falls through a hole into the crawl space of the house. I don't remember exactly where the hole was.
So they found the secret entrance
Uh-huh.
in the cupboard, the wardrobe.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Narnia. So she goes in there to replace the music box on the kid's toy thing.
Uh-huh.
And then she just falls to the ground because it's kind of like an attic, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not like,
Stay
it doesn't
out
have
of
a
the
floor
attic.
extended. So, God.
But, yeah.
That one. And then she falls all the way down.
Yeah, she falls in the crawl space. So then that's when you get the scene I talked about earlier with the dead lady and the kid behind her. And then she goes to look, and they're not there again. And then when she goes back, the dead lady's just like in front of her face. And she's like, she made me do it. And that spirit is just a sad spirit. Like, it doesn't even like do anything to hurt her. It was just like a fucking sad person. And then you get
and it was more. Oh my god, it was more sad than scary, right?
Yeah.
Like it was meant to be a scare, but it wasn't like it was
yeah.
kind of thing. So
And so then Lorraine looks and you can see the hanging witch's feet again, and it like turns to water and starts like coming the way, and she's fucking screaming, right? So then, all this is happening at the same time, by the way. So then, fucking, yeah, cuts back up top, and all the girls stand in the living room, and then the one girl, her hair starts lifting up, a la Graven Count, all the way back when we did that, when the hair came up or whatever. And the one girl's like, Sally, your hair. And the girl's like, what? And then just starts fucking getting tossed around the room and shit. And you're like, what's going on, you know? And finally, somehow, everything calms down after, like, all this shit goes. And then after that, they go, you know what? I think we should leave this house. So that's the end of the sleepover, and everyone goes their own ways. That's before Lorraine and them leave. That's when you see the daughter underwater. Which at first, I made myself laugh because she's walking over there, and you don't know what it is. At first, it's just a kid, like, Mommy. And she's going near a lake, and she's looking down. I was like, it's Jason. He's gonna pop out. I was like, what a turn of events if this ended up being a Jason movie. Like, this whole time, it was just Jason.
yeah, that'd be a twist.
It would be a twist. But yeah, so then she thinks her daughter's in trouble. She calls the nanny.
No,
the nanny.
it was her mom.
Is it her mom? Yeah, but the girl calls her Nana or something. Yeah. And so they go, they're like, no, she's fine or whatever. So you're like, all right, word. Then it turns out she's not fine because she starts hearing noises, and then she goes into, or she doesn't go in, but the door's open to the haunted room, and then you notice that Annabelle is missing from her case. And so she goes into this room, and you get a shot of this lady brushing Annabelle's hair, and Annabelle fucking like creaks her neck over to look at her, and then I think the lady like disappears, and the mom and them had shown up at that point, but the door's locked, and the Nana's like, you gotta open the door, and the dad fucking busts in, and he's like, come here, and then the chair flies perfectly,
Flung at her,
at that time, and breaks against the wall, and then they don't even get a chance to breathe, because right after that, they get a call from... Who was it that called them? Was it one of the daughters?
The dad.
Oh, the dad. Yeah, okay, yeah. And so the mom, he's like, fucking Lisa took off with the two youngest girls, I think it was. And they were like, what? And so at this point, which we've already pieced together, the mom's fucking possessed, and now she's going back to the house to kill the two, daughters, and then kill herself. Witch sacrifice and shit. And they get there. Fucking, she's crazy. She's got scissors and shit. She's trying to kill the daughters. They like try to drag her out to go get the priest to exorcise her. But as she just starts like burning, and like a rope comes around her neck, like a burn rope mark. And they're like, the witch isn't gonna let her leave. She's gonna fucking kill her. And then the witch like drags her back in. You get a cool shot where she's sitting there, and then she like does a full like 180 thing. That I really like that one. So then they decided, fuck it, Patrick Wilson's gonna do the exorcism. And so they tie her up in this chair. They start doing the whole Father, Holy Ghost, throwing fucking holy water on her. They throw a sheet over her at one point. I don't really remember the reasoning behind them putting the sheet over her. But
because she made eye contact, she was like trying to like put voodoo or whatever on the cop, I think.
Oh yeah.
So then Lorraine like covers her with the sheet to where she can't like look at people or whatever.
Yeah. And so they're still doing it, and then like the lady at one point like vomits out blood onto the sheet. It's like a cool look. And they're still yelling shit, and then the sheet splits, and now she's got like full on witch face, like blood witch face. It's a really cool like design they had going with her.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Do you think that was a different person?
I thought it was the witch. Yeah, like the full.
Well, no,
on...
I mean like actor wise or actress.
Oh, yeah. I took it as in that was the whoever was playing the dead witch lady that you saw like on the wardrobe and shit.
Because if it wasn't, fucking kudos. Like,
yeah,
there's a scene later where it goes from that back to normal.
Yeah,
and they don't really show her go full normal. And I was like, maybe it is her. Maybe this is just really good. But
yeah, it might have been. But if so, it was so good that I thought it was a different person. So
it reminded me of that person from 13 Ghosts that had the cage on its head.
Yeah, the cage.
Was it Cage?
It was a cage. Yeah, I can't remember her name though. Yeah,
but that's who it reminded me of.
Yeah, and then all this shit's happening, and then the next thing you know, it just gets quiet, and they're like, "Oh, maybe we're good." And then it's like, "Nah," the chair just starts levitating, and you're like, "Okay, well this is fucked." You know, the chair's levitating, and then it's like, "Ah, we ain't done. Spin that bitch upside down." And so then the roof has become the fucking floor for that lady, and they're still yelling at her and shit
because it like levitates and then it flips 180 and then falls upwards.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, I'm sure movie magic and stuff, it's real easy to do. But it was just cool.
Yeah,
like I don't know how to describe it. It didn't look overly cheesy. It didn't look like anything crazy, but like it was crazy. So I don't know. It was good stuff.
And so, and then all this shit's happening, and then the chair falls and breaks, and now the lady's free. And then they're like yelling at each other. Oh no, the fucking husband comes over, and he's like, "Let her go" or whatever. And then the fucking witch lady like turns to look at him, and she's like, "She's already gone, and now you all will die." And then this fucking
family will die.
Yeah, spirit levitates the cop's goddamn shotgun and tries to take a shot. Like, and she misses.
It does take a shot.
Yeah.
Well, no, the cop like dives and knocks him out of the way.
Oh, okay. But it shocked me that this thing tried to use a gun. I forgot about that. And then what do they end up like yelling at her some more. She goes to like, also somehow the youngest girl wound up like underneath the floorboards, and the Asian like photographer dude or like sound guy.
His name is that
his name?
I just know because he
did have a cool ass jacket that I liked the whole time.
He also had a really creepy scene where he was hitting on his daughter.
Yeah.
And they're like groovy. And I was like,
yeah, we don't talk about that. But he's looking for the youngest daughter, and then he finds her, and she's under the floor, and he like breaks through to her. And then he calls out, and he's like, "I found her. She's in this exact spot, in this exact place, fully exposed." And so, then the witch lady grabs the fucking scissors, goes running, and she grabs her, and she's like about to kill her. And then they're all yelling at her and yelling all this shit. And
when she leaves, she's like moving super fluidly, like a snake or whatever. Like it was creepy.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a normal like she was walking. She like jumped through this little hole and did all stuff. So,
and then I don't remember what the last line was that fully got. I think it might have been Ed just being like, "By the power of God," that's dude. But
no, he does this. This is my only problem with the movie.
All right,
is that so? If you're ever having if
I ever have an exorcist,
if you're ever having problems with a demon or whatever, knowing the demon's name gives you a crazy amount of power over the demon, supposedly, right? Like that's the rules, whatever.
It's like Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing. Yeah. So right before she's about to stab her daughter, I wanted to say Patrick Jane, but that's not his name. Ed, calls out the demon's name, and it's Bethesda or the zine or something,
Yeah.
and that's when it does that real creepy like look right at him.
Yeah.
And I have no clue how he knew this thing's name. Like
Yeah.
they don't say anything. I'm sure maybe there's an unedited extended version we could watch that has some stuff in it, and that's what like kind of gets them. And then Lorraine does her "I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
thumb your forehead" shit. So,
Yeah.
but good
anyway,
stuff.
and the demon leaves, and then they wrap the shit up and they take home that
Well,
music box. What's up?
she vomits for like 5 minutes.
She
but
does,
yeah.
yeah. And so they take that fucking music box home. Does family end up staying in the house? I don't remember if they decide to leave or not at the end.
So they keep doing this thing to where the guy keeps talking about how he wants a place in the country, blah.
Uh,
And I could have sworn they were just gonna buy this house from these folks,
yeah.
but they
Yeah.
never really said.
Yeah, I don't know. But movie ends, or that's when you get this line of "We got a case in Long Island. That's the Amityville Horror House." Um, and then the movie ends, and this is when you get your real photos of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and then the Perrin family. It's like Porrin or whatever. Which, once again, when you add real photos to something that like this that you just watched, makes it 10 times creepier. And there you go. And that was the end of the movie. So, also, going back way to the beginning, something I forgot to mention that just seemed kind of out of place is the oldest girl when they first get to the house. She's like, "Do I get to pick my room, or do I not get a say in that either?" And it's like, okay, so she's upset that they had to leave wherever they left or whatever. So I'm like, this is going to be the teenage angst character. But then it never is again. Like, she's perfectly
Yeah.
fine throughout the rest of the movie. So that just seemed like a weird line in there. Like, I don't know if maybe they were going to go that direction and then they changed, but just didn't decide to reshoot that part or what it was. But it just seemed like a weird little add-on.
Let me ask you a question, since I know
Alright.
you're about to wrap stuff up.
Well, we still have
Maybe
best
not
of
rap,
worst
rap.
of.
Yeah.
I still have facts.
But so the scene when the daughter and Annabelle gets out.
Uh,
This, I guess, yeah, because Annabelle only gets out once.
yeah.
But it's a scene and it has the witch and she's brushing Annabelle's hair, and then Annabelle
Was it
looks.
the witch?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
took it as in it was that girl, but then
But,
again, that girl was never there. It was a trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, the witch had the pendant, and that's how she got to the other.
Okay.
The necklace.
Yeah, because they're always together and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my question is, because they're demons, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, in that situation, is Annabelle like super demon, and the other lesser demon is brushing her hair, or is the witch
I
more powerful and she's playing with her toy?
I
Or am I
think
just reading too much into all?
I think the demon is more powerful, Annabelle. Cause he never she it doesn't have it. It's a demon. It never walked the earth, and so it
Yeah.
almost seems like something that the witch in her previous life would have worshipped.
Worshipped, yeah.
Yeah.
Like as a god or whatever. Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes sense because plus she got permission to be in the doll. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. The other one just kind of showed up unannounced. So.
Yeah. So
But yeah, it was creepy. It was like two
Uh-huh.
super evils getting together.
yeah. I will say though, if there was one part of this movie that I would take out, it was probably that sequence with the little girl and Annabelle. Like, I don't think it was bad, but it just sort of seemed randomly thrown in the middle. It's like they had the daughter character and they had to have some type of threat come to, so they were just like, have the witch break Annabelle out. It just seemed kind of thrown in there.
Yeah, I think they did that just so they had a threat at home to where
Uh-huh.
if they didn't take care of the witch, it was going to mess with them. When they
Yeah,
went home.
like it's not like they could just leave and it wouldn't be their problem.
Yeah. Good luck,
Yeah.
buddy. And then they just walk out.
Because I think that's even like because Lorraine, after her incident, the guy is like, listen, I'm not going to have Lorraine around this shit anymore. But then when it's like, well, she's always going to be around it because it's going to be at home unless you
have it
don't.
in the fucking house. You have a whole room of shit.
Yeah, fucking
Fucking
idiots.
What movie was it with Demon House? Right, where
Yeah.
they fucking bulldoze and burn the thing to the ground.
Yeah, and the fucking guys doing it were like, we're just releasing this shit out into the world, huh? And Zach Bagans was like, yeah, I gotta wear special glasses now.
Yeah, I'm blind.
Yeah.
But
God, you remember that one fuck? They were like, our friend Joey, who we met yesterday, suddenly got angry, and like it wasn't even a member of their crew; it was a guy they brought on like the day before.
yeah, it was. Well, I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like, man, that guy was just a crackhead, needed some fucking drugs in him. He got all fucking mopey and mad.
Record. That was a movie we watched probably 3 or 4 months before we started making this podcast.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of the birthplace of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Mini breaks talking about this movie.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna ask you a question,
Okay.
or I guess just make a statement and get your take on it. Pretty sure Homegirl saw the devil when she looked in that dude's eyes.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know if you want to Beelzebub, Satan, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
She saw pure evil, right?
Yeah. Well, if like I said, if like the devil made me do it, if that's when you get, this dude literally says he's possessed by the devil. So if it ends up being the same guy, it would make sense.
I don't know. Plus, he was like, she was in her room. She didn't eat. She stayed in the room for 8 days. And I was like, who doesn't eat for 8 days? I can't go 30 minutes. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Willpower, I guess,
Willpower.
And
yeah.
last little comment, and this has nothing to do with anything. The lady who plays, I guess her name is Lorraine, right? She's like so hot, but not in a supermodel way, right? Like I don't know how to describe that. So I was like, man, this lady's really cute, But anyways, so call me Lorraine, It's not a real name, and the real Lorraine died in like 2016 or 2019. I don't remember.
I think she's still alive. I know Ed's dead.
Nah, they're both dead.
Oh yeah.
I looked it up because I wanted to call her. No, I was looking to see if they wrote books or whatever. So, I think they have kids.
God damn, she died in 2006. I was like, I think she's still alive. Anyway.
Yep. As a man who does that quite frequently, it's okay. Things are confusing.
Speaking of dead people, R.I.P. Joey Jordanson.
Who?
Motherfucker. You're gonna enrage. And it's not even, you just said that to make people mad. Like, you're a fan of the band. Like, but,
well, it took me off because I thought you were going to do a Mavs tribute. And then you went the other way with it. And, I was like, ooh.
And Dusty Hill, shout out. I was going to go to that concert and then he died on me. They haven't canceled it. They might find another base, but them guys have been playing together since the fucking 60s. I don't know if they'll. But anyway, this movie had a budget of $20 million and made a box office of $319 million. So.
Hey, I think it should have been more. What did, what's their latest, what came out first, Insidious or this?
Insidious came out first.
Okay. I was going to say, because, I wonder what their highest grossing film is.
I would say...
Because they got to be getting better, right? Like the Conjuring 3 or whatever.
What the fuck is this? Oh. I searched up the wrong movie. I would say, I bet you the Conjuring 2... Annabelle might have made their most. Annabelle is one of the movies I bet you made a shit ton of money. Let me look it up real fast. Annabelle, 2014. So this would be... Oh, it didn't make that. Never mind. So this movie, I don't know. We'll go through it. I'm sure we'll end up watching all these fucking.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Like this one was. I almost like they.
I don't like the second one.
Insidious and this.
Yeah.
You don't?
No, the second one, no, I don't like it. The second one has like this stop motion villain demon that I don't.
Hey, I've seen that. It's the.
I always call him the Wicker Man, or not the Wicker Man. I always call him the Slender Man, but it's not. It's just like another dude. But the second one is the one that introduces the nun, though. Like I said, that's the best scene in that movie. Whenever we do it, is the nun scene. By the way, you might have noticed the film's rated R, despite there being hardly any like bad language, no nudity really, no none of that. It's simply rated R because it's too scary. They were like, oh, we can't give this PG-13. So
Of this movie?
yeah.
So, what was your biggest scare? I know it was your second time watching it, so...
This time around, it was the pictures falling off the wall. The first time around, it was the girl coming from the side to attack the cop dude.
So, my biggest scare happened 10 minutes into the movie.
Okay.
When Annabelle's knocking on the door, and then she opens it, and she gets a note, and then she turns and looks at her friend.
And then the door next to her knocks.
Yeah, and it's like... Because I'm listening on surround sound headphone thing.
Yeah.
So, I was like... it got me. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Director James Wan started working on the script one night after he had just adopted a new dog who suddenly started to stare into an empty side of the room and began to growl aggressively. And then the dog randomly would just look like that, like it was following someone. And he was like, this is a great story. And so that's what started it all.
Have you... Okay, you have two dogs.
I do.
I forget what, Jackson or whatever.
Ben barks at night sometimes, just randomly, into the dark. And it's like, oh.
Like outside or inside?
Inside, like in the living room.
Well,
like he'll just be laying out there sleeping. And then he'll wake up and start barking.
Not to get into too many details, but you have a lot of crazy shit that happens at your house. So...
It's been pretty tame recently.
Just because you've been working so much, you didn't realize. Anyway.
I didn't realize it, yeah. But
anyway. So like I've had dogs like that and stuff, and I always assume like there's a cat outside or it's just something stupid. But Paranormal Activity 2, like there's a dog in it that barks at demons, I guess. But
yeah.
So now, like...
Dogs barking at nothing is creepy, man. Just throw that in your movie.
Because you gotta assume that they... dogs can, like, smell cancers and weird shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta assume they're seeing shit that we don't see.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't... Like, cats see at I think they say a binaural level or something like that. Where it's a whole different view, so... I'm not saying this dog did or whatever, but like, that's some scary shit, right? Like, that's, I don't know.
All right, well, let's do best of, worst of. We still haven't done it this whole episode. My best of, I'm gonna go with the fucking shot of the lady standing in the window because it improved upon what I bitched about in the Babadook. So that's best of for this week. And then worst of, I'll say just the beginning little parts where they're like I don't really like once the build really starts happening, I was into it, but the little like I got a bruise on my leg and it's cold in here and stuff. Like after you tell yours, I'm gonna say a movie that I think is very underappreciated and I think has done the build up better than any movie we've watched so far. And I'll tell you in a second. But what was your best of, worst stuff? So that's mine.
I know my worst of, and that has to be the fact that I don't think UV lights show handprints or footprints.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was just like, what? Because I can turn on UV light right now, and you're not going to see any prints. You're going to see the towel under my bed glow.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see, like, I don't think they show anything, But, like... And to me, I was just like, eh.
Uh-huh.
but like this movie was so good. I don't, that's probably my only. I wish
Yeah.
they would have added more subtlety. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of times where the camera's panning, and it would be
Yeah.
really simple to throw a witch or throw a
Uh-huh.
Rory or I don't remember the big lady's name. I think she was just a cook. I don't think she had a
So
name.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, or something like that, or like I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that. Like remember when the cop was at the sink and he was like washing his hands or something,
Uh.
and then the rocking chair was like rocking,
Yeah.
and he was like going out there looking around, freaking out, locking the door, stuff. That lady, the ghost that scared you, like they didn't show enough. You saw that one scene,
That
right?
one
Like,
scene. Yeah.
and you never saw her again.
Yeah.
So, but I
So
just want more of the spooky stuff, I guess.
yeah. So first off, before I go into this, that part where the door slams with the daughter and she's like, "There's someone behind you" or whatever. They do a thing before it that it's in every fucking horror movie ever, where they're playing like music and then it gets just everything cuts out, and it ruins the scare, because unless you're just all right, well it's about to
Yeah.
go, something's about to happen, and so yeah, I hate those little, like, when everything just cuts out and something's about to happen. But anyway, movie we watched that I think has done build up better than any other movie, any other ghost movie type thing we've watched so far, has to be Grave Encounters. Grave Encounters had such a good build up where it was just real subtle, like the guy be talking on his phone, and then just lightly in the background you'd see the wheelchair move just barely, not
Yeah.
like a and like you were saying, like I wish the movie, instead of having the oh it smells like death and shit, I wish just throughout the movie they'd be talking and then in the background you would see the fucking chair move or something, or then you hear the piano every now and then, it would dingle or something. Dingle. But yeah, like Grave Encounters did such a good job of building up to the scares that I wish, yeah, I really like that movie.
I don't know. I think what's this stupid Australian movie we watched that I hated? That I didn't watch for the credits. That was like the best part of the movie.
Lake Mungo.
So I think that was probably the best scare reveal
Lake
lead up.
Mungo. That I
And I
mean
didn't even get to see.
that was, yeah. I mean, first
We
off,
already
the whole
reviewed it.
little spoiler
It's
for
only a
Lake
spoiler
Mungo.
if you're not a fan, bitches.
Yeah, like
Sorry.
that whole movie is basically a build up to the her, like, the fucking dead body coming towards her, her dead body coming out of the dark or whatever, and like that is the whole movie is a build up to that, and then obviously you get your little thing in the credits where it's like, oh, she was there the whole fucking time, dude.
Yeah. That's
I really like that movie. Y'all didn't like it so much, but
don't
I
know.
went so deep into it. I dug in the rabbit holes and shit.
He moved
But,
to Australia,
I moved to Australia.
and
but,
he only drove to work backwards for a week.
Yeah, that was
It's
a
weird.
weird part.
For a movie I hated, I remember every part.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, yeah, I would, like you said, tack on. I wish there was some more subtlety to the build up in the beginning, instead of just the little lines of dialogue they had. But anyway, well, I think we've talked enough about this one. We've just been fucking going on.
It's such a good movie. Like,
It's a
even
good movie.
if you watch this and you haven't watched the movie, still if you watch it, it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's not as scary as I was hoping. I was hoping for more jump scares and stuff like that. But it was a roller coaster. Like, but there was no slowing down. It was just nonstop.
Yeah.
And like I said, everyone was really decent in it. The only person I would give like a B+ to is the mom. But at the same time, still pretty good.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. In this one and Insidious, like I said, I'm gonna have to watch them all because both those movies are stellar. Like,
yeah, I don't like. I was gonna say, like, because Insidious, there's 5 of them, and then there's 7 movies in the Conjuring thing.
what are the
So,
5
like,
Insidious movies?
Insidious 1 through 5. It's all just Insidious, yeah. I think the fifth one is called like Insidious something something something. It has like another subtext.
So you know how like they do it a lot in TV shows. They don't do it very often in movies, unless you're Eddie Murphy. But do you think they're going to have an Insidious Conjuring crossover where they both meet? Like he meets himself in the ghost world, though. So like only Lorraine can see him.
Oh yeah,
but it's not Ed. It's like the other one.
Well, we don't know what's gonna happen with him because last we saw he was possessed by a fucking demon. So
yeah, he was in the ghost. The lady who didn't want her picture taken.
Yeah. So anyway,
there's so many movies we need to watch.
Maybe we'll start doing some overtimes for Insidious.
Because that's 5 with Insidious, and you said 7 with this one.
Yeah, so we would have 6 more for this one.
And 4 more for Insidious.
4 more. 10 movies. 10 movies. We got 10 of these. Yeah, we got our last 3 Texas movies we need to finish up.
Side note, this movie's like 2.5 hours long.
It's a
Or maybe it's 2 hours. But
I think it's only 2, yeah, but
it's a lengthy, and it's good, like the whole time through. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Usually I'm like looking at me, texting the boys, just chilling on Discord or whatever. I didn't. Y'all could have been on fire for all I knew. Like I didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So
anyway, all right. Well, next week, Tyler, what are we delving into?
Cabin in the Woods.
Oh fuck!
I wanted to change it to Paranormal Activity, but
Oh, before there was that part where when they go in the basement, it switches to like a found footage or whatever. And part of me was like, damn, imagine if just the whole movie was like... And they use, like, the mic where all the audio is just coming from his mic and shit.
So, all right. Let's talk about that for a second.
Anyway, Cabin in the Woods next week. Yeah. Let's go back to the movie.
I was like, there's going to be some crazy shit going on when they switch to that first-person camera or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it really shows off the restraint of the director or writer or whatever, or just he did it on purpose. That
they didn't blow their load right then?
Yeah, they didn't do a bunch of crazy shit. They just left it alone. Like, I don't even think they saw anything, right?
They didn't see anything. They get back up, and then the door slams. And that's it. Yeah.
But they do the fake out, and, like, they're going up the stairs, and the guy stops, and he turns around real quick, and you're like, oh, here it comes. And he was like,
they look at the piano again. Yeah.
And I was like, look at these fuckers. They're messing with my, I don't even know what you call it, expectations.
Yeah.
You know? But I was like, ooh, so good. So good.
So good and tasty. Anyway.
You eat my beans? No, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't use that one. But
no.
Anyways.
All right. Well, next week.
Really good.
Yeah. Next week. Cabin in the Woods. Earlier this week, Peninsula came out. Go check that out. Monday, there might be another overtime. If there is, it's probably a Texas Chainsaw. We're going to finish those up. If not...
watch Conjurings now and Insidious.
We can't get distracted. We're so close to the end of Texas that we just need to finish them off.
We can. It's fine.
Yeah. And then we'll start with the ghouls. Anyway.
The ghouls.
The ghouls, yeah.
Like the movie Ghoulies?
Yeah, we're going to do ghoulies. I think there's like 8 of those fucking things, too. But anyway, next week, Cabin in the Woods. Thanks for listening to the episode. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. I say that every like 10 episodes just to throw it in there.
And shout out to Mav. Hopefully he gets out of the hospital soon and he can rejoin us.
Yeah, hopefully. And,
so, I mean, he's transitioning. He's doing him. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Next week.